Wow. What up? Hey, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Hold on. You gotta hold on every time. You gotta hold on. You gotta hold on, cause if I don't plug this in, it's gonna die. Do 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 boo boo la 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 la. La 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 la, plug it in, plug it in, plug it in, I'm plugging it in, I'm plugging it in, didn't plug it in before the set. Okay. Alright, well, I'm going to, as always, reserve judgment on how that went, because I'm not really sure. I think I had some good licks in there, but not gonna lie to you, this was a bit of a rush job. So I wanted to get another one out before big show next Saturday. So I have plenty of time to practice. This stuff is improvised, but I gotta make sure everything fucking works, which was part of the problem today. Had some issues with leveling, had some issues with patches sounding not so nice. Not so nice, sweetheart. But let's go through quick. All right. Hold on. I gotta undo what I did. Bow. Bing, bow. So, first thing I did, I switched this. This was the mini group, and then it switched over to rings. Nothing spectacular going on there, just, typical mini brute sounds. Sawtooth had a little bit of frequency modulation. I had a lot. I think, honestly, the big problem with this one was I leaned too hard into detuned sounds, and it kind of just sounded a little poopy. But that's okay. Let's see. So, I did this thing where I was using quad CV recorder to record some LFOs, and then did this. Yeah. Now I can, re-record. Now this. So that's cool. Cool little trick in that. Okay, so that's fun. I like that. I think the most positive thing I can say about this is that I tried out a lot of different techniques. So I did that. What else did I do? I did my classic, this stuff. You got it. Classic. always a good line to use. Okay, let's listen to what Rings was doing. So this one, I turned down the brightness on Rings, and then turned up the damp a little bit, and then used a micro pitch preset called Nice Chorus on the H90. Just sounds nice. It's got a more guitar kind of sound, chilled, relaxed style. I did this for the bass. I've never heard this bass before, Andy. You may say. Turn this off. Okay. Well, that's right. You haven't heard it before because this is actually coming out of Crater. So the kick drum module is just plain bass drum because it has the sustain. Kind of cool. It's just like a raw sounding kick drum or bass sound. I got LFO going into the saturation so I can kick it up. Now if I wanted to I could do this, but it sounds not so nice in this patch. Now when it hits it's gonna go whenever there's a break in the legato line that I programmed in there. Did it? Hear it? Okay, you hear it. Anyway, not big deal. Bass drum. As a bass. I think my problem was I really got to focus more on drums and doing sound check on my drums because some of them nice and loud, some of them not so loud. Sounds good, but it just didn't quite, I don't know, didn't quite gel. So anyway, that's just a regular VST going into the Kernel Blob. It's filtered duo. I did this. Now, turn that down a little bit. So this was an example of me doing something interesting on the fly. So the way that I recorded this, I'll just give this so we have a little context. So Stardust record in. What I had going sneaky style was I had it always recording, and I had it recording the mini brew. So if I pull this out, hold on. Oh, that's why it's... Okay, I figured out why it sounds so bad. It recorded over itself. Multiple passes. I didn't erase it. Okay, well, that answers that question. Well, better luck next time. Anyway, I still used it. It's loud as fuck. That's why it's so loud. Anyway, so what I did was, because the way that the performance mixer is set up, I can send stuff through the bus and then turn it down. So I turned it down, recorded it in, and because I wasn't listening to it, didn't realize it recorded multiple times. So it was just a big loud ass mess. So that's why that sounded like that, but that's alright. Sometimes you can use it. Anyway, so that was that. Oh, okay. So, this another thing I'm just trying out. So, what I created was like a mega voice type synth. So this is Vowel and new edition WGD WGD Cherry from Felix Vegan out of Joymany. Anyway, so I have these two going in there, and then I've got super secret awesome Eurorack triple exclusive sound, which is the classic using a clock divider to do stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna pull. Okay, so this is just Vowel, right? And now what you'll hear if I turn this up, hear that? That is the clock divider. So what's happening is if you run, so generally clock divider, you put in gates on it, it divides them down. So like every 2, it'll output 1. Every 4, it'll output 1 gate. But if you send an audio rate signal in it, you just end up with a fucking square wave. So I'm just gonna pull this. So that's coming directly from Vowel, right? And it's producing this square wave. And because of the way this is set up, I can just pop between them. So that's divide by 2, divide by 4, divide by 8. Hold on. Hear that? Divide by 16. Notice these are going down by an octave. You get it. So what I did, I have that, and then if I plug this back in, we've got, and then Cherry, which is a harmonic oscillator. Let's hear that on its own real quick. So still getting used to this one, but it's got a cool sound. And it can do this harmonics thing. So if I could just pull it up. Kind of like on rings, you can do like the sympathetic strings mode. Similar to that, I guess. Kind of like a Broke Man's Odessa by Chaos Devices. Anyway, so I had big mega voice, and I don't know, it just didn't quite sit in the mix all the way. That's my bad. My bad. I think maybe it should be used for a different part. I mean, it's cool. It definitely had like a kind of lonely sound. Anything else? The rest was, I think, was just playing. Doing this again. So, I'm gonna pull up this. So using this gate, right, we're going into the trigger delay, mutable peaks. And let me just add a couple in there. Dub. Hear that? It's going into the decimate. And I can put it into something else. Let's put it into... redo this anyway, so I don't worry about taking it apart. Alright, so now this is going to go into the trigger. Isn't it? Is that not the trigger? The fuck's going on? Yeah. It's not high enough to trigger. Why you no trig? Why you no trig? This is my trigger. Just a moment. Trig. Fuck you, why aren't you triggering? Shit, it has gone down. Yeah, okay. Huh. Interesting, I didn't know. Maybe it's not sharp enough or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I could do this. Hear that? So. Hear that? So that's just the gate from the kick drum, or from the snare. Doing that. What else did I do? Oh, you know, while we're talking about that, I did this too. Just use beats to throw some fucking crazy reverb on those. They're just triggering it the same way as that snare. I think that's it. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna get all practiced up. I want to be good for you, Daddy. And then, you know, that'll be that. See, drums just ain't right. See, this is kind of cool. This type shit I want to do with Stardust. That's why you gotta practice. And maybe do the Stardust stuff in advance. It's okay. You're not that cool. You don't know how to do it. You're not a psychic. All right. Well, love you so much. I'll see you this weekend when this comes out. So I hope that I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too bad, but I think it was fine. I just sometimes it's not always silky smooth, but I'll make it silky smooth for you on Saturday in Troy at Paper Moon in Troy. Saturday, April